What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Yard Podcast. I'm your host, Randy.
And I'm your host, Cody.
And we are ready to go tonight. We've got plenty of fan questions to ask. So really quickly, if you want to find me on Twitter or Instagram, you can find me at Randy_Radcliffe.
And you can find me at Michael Konu, MyKalKonu.
And we also just wanted to thank everybody who has left a review, who has subscribed, who's DM'd us, who's tagged us in posts. Everyone has had so many great things to say, and even the compliments of, hey, you could work on this, but your kid, like, everybody's been great about feedback, and so we really appreciate it. Keep giving it to us because we're working on it. We added
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
And make sure you rate it 5 stars so we can pop up more.
Yeah, if we deserve those 5 stars, hit the subscribe and hit it so that way we can move up in those charts. But yeah, no, I'm excited for this one, and we're ready to go. So I hope you guys liked that intro music, though. We're listening. We fixed up Konu's mic a little bit, so let's jump.
Hopefully it sounds good.
Yeah, it does. I think it does. We'll let the listeners decide, but let's jump right into it. Do you want to handle the Dodger? Well,
okay.
Yeah.
So Gavin Lux lost, unfortunately, in the first round to Blake Snell in the Players League. It was 2 really close games, though. Gavin actually had the lead in the second game, but he did give up a 3-run home run in like extra innings. But I saw that one coming because he struggled pitching with Jansen the whole tournament. So it was kind of like we knew it was going to happen.
So no Players League championship for us, unfortunately. But
congrats to Blake Snell, though.
Yeah, he's a funny guy to watch play.
He's
and
great.
He's very
Absolutely.
intense. But
I need it so bad.
Yeah. Good for him. Next thing. We have anybody who listens to Joe and Oral's podcast. Last week they had, it was last week. This quarantine's got me so confused with days, weeks. I think it was last week. He was on the episode with Joe and Oral, and they asked him how he was feeling about the upcoming baseball season. And he actually said that he felt pretty optimistic that there would be baseball in 2020. He did say, though, that everything we're seeing on social media or that the press, whatever, media in general, journalists, anything anyone's releasing is pretty much just talks, and that the player association hasn't actually reached out to any players to be like, hey, this is the plan. They're basically like what Bellinger made it sound like is they're basically texting the players and being like, hey, what you saw on social media, that's not a formal proposal, blah, blah, blah. We're still waiting. So they're just keeping them updated, but it sounds like they're kind of out of the loop, just like we are, and they're waiting. And I'm sure I would not be surprised if we see it on social media before the players even find out there's a proposal, because that just seems to be how things work. But
it seems like a lot of players are feeling optimistic that there will be a season in 2020, so that's good news.
Yes, it is. As long as everybody's safe, that's good news. That's my biggest concern is players need to stay safe. But we'll get into that a little bit deeper because we do have a little bit more info, but we'll get into that a little bit later. For those of you who were planning on going to a Dodger game this year, or at least already bought tickets, the Dodgers did announce that they were going to start providing credits or refunds for the games that were supposed to be played in March and April, and they announced that on Thursday. If you saw the Dodgers tweet, it wasn't the most helpful. It really made it sound like they were hoping fans would take the credit because they did not bluntly tell people you can get a refund. However, for those of you that haven't reached out yet, you can still get a refund. I don't know if they're choosing not to tell people because they want, like I said, they want that money. But if I'm a season ticket holder, so I received an email and immediately the email said credit or refund. There was no confused. But again, I think they're more careful with their season ticket holders than they are general public, just because most of the time, I'm not going to say it's factual, but most of the time season ticket holders spend more money than non-season ticket holders. So I think they're a little bit more careful, but I think they should just take care of everyone and they should just put the refund in there right away. But credit wise,
I actually opted for the credit.
You did?
Next season tickets, yeah.
Okay. So did they give you the 10% or is that only a season ticket holder thing?
I did not get a 10%, no.
Okay, so then that must be a season ticket holder. So if you're a season ticket holder and you decide to get the credit, you actually get 10% on top of your credit for next season. That 10% can go to playoff games, other tickets, parking, concessions. So depending on your money situation, you could get a couple extra $100 out of it, and it could possibly even adjust the pricing of the tickets next season because they could get more expensive, especially if they don't get much income this year. So that is an option. I definitely did not take that option. I want my money back. So my season ticket holder called me within a couple hours of me emailing her, confirmed that I wanted the refund, and they got that going. So if you want your refund, all you have to do is call 886-DODGERS. It's option 6. If you got an email from the team about your tickets, email them back. Let them know you want a refund. They will direct that email to the right person who can help you, and then they will get in contact. I was told they are extremely busy with calls coming in, so if you sent something, just try to be a little bit patient with them. Just remember those workers are trying just as hard as we are. They're not the ones creating the policy. They're not the ones who are... They're just the middleman. So please take it easy on them. So yeah, that's there. Another thing, and then we're about to get into the questions. I'm excited. I'm like trying to speed through this. The Dodgers did host another Zoom party last night. I did not get on last night. It looked like a lot of fun. Bellinger was on there. He got roasted a few times because he didn't even know how to unmute his mic. Sounds like Jansen got roasted by Cody as well because he has shitty Wi-Fi. So it sounded like a good time last night. Hopefully, I don't know if there was Wi-Fi issues again, but if you missed the first two or you just enjoyed it, they are doing another one next Monday at 6 p.m. There's details on participation and registration is to be decided though, so I don't have any information for you on that.
Maybe I'll sign up for this one.
Yeah, and then I don't have to. Yeah, because you could talk about it next week. Fun. Woo. So this is the part that we were saving kind of our biggest chunk for the show because we were super excited for this. We decided to do kind of our first mailbag, I guess you could say. Everyone uses that term. It's the universal term, but we just asked people for questions. First thing I do want to let people know, because I'm noticing it's happening. If you have a private account on Twitter, we cannot see your responses. So if you're asking us a question and you do not see that we respond to your question or that we did not like your question, it's because we did not see it. If you're a private account and you are very adamant on staying private, send us a DM and let us know what your question is, and then we will get across that way in answering it. Because I did see from my personal profile that there were people responding to Dodger Yard who are private, but I follow them on my personal and so I was able to see that people were commenting. I just couldn't see what it was. So just keep that in mind for next week's question. But did you want to take on we've got quite a few. I was actually impressed with how many questions we got. So thank you to everyone for that. I think we decided we're going to do this, once a month or every 2 weeks?
Once a month sounds good.
Yeah. Once baseball's back, maybe we'll step it up, but just not sure how many different questions we can ask with nothing going on. So... the first question, did you want to go for that from J Roach?
Oh, yeah, I can do it. So the first question, like she says, from J Roach _909 on Twitter. And his question is, your favorite Dodger walk-up song, past or present? Okay, so for this one, my answer is Lowrider. It was Nomar Garcia Parra's walk-up song. It's just a fun, classic tune.
You know what's... I'm sorry. I totally did not want to interrupt you, but you said Nomar. Did you know today's Nomar Day in Boston?
I saw that on Twitter.
I just had to throw that out there. Day. So, sorry. You can keep going. I had to throw that out there.
Yeah, so Lowrider is just like a classic tune, and it reminded me of like watching the George Lopez show on Nick at Night as a kid.
Yeah, it's very, I think, it's totally nostalgic for anyone who watched that show, but it's also, it works well. Mine, I went with that one. I kind of picked two, but because it's kind of fan participation, I was a big fan of when Bellinger used Humble by Kendrick Lamar. I believe it was his rookie season. The reason why I like that one so much is because they would play the verse right before it says my left stroke just went viral. DJ Severe would cut it before that line, and I'm not kidding you when I said the entire stadium would sing that line with no music and you would hear it. It didn't happen all the time, but it would happen sometimes. I don't know I can't remember if it happened I didn't go to a lot of games in 2017, but I remember sitting there and he cut the music and you heard the song being played because everyone in the crowd knew that song. That song was huge
It was.
when it came out. And I was also a big fan of Jock using We Will Rock You. That was a lot of fun too because he was leading off games and that would be the first song that the Dodgers would have. You'd have people pounding on the seats to get the kind of the rhythm going with the song. So I was a big fan of that. But yeah, and I think we actually had a second one from Jay Roach. So I'll go into that.
Okay.
This one was, I don't like it, Jay Roach. You put us in a very uncomfortable situation here. You asked if you are guaranteed a Dodgers World Series, but you must give up beer, In-N-Out, or your favorite music genre for the rest of your life. What are you giving up? For me, it wasn't that hard. I went with beer because I can still drink hard liquor. Big Bloody Mary person. It's actually why I love micheladas so much. It would just really bum me out that I can't have micheladas anymore because that's really the only way I drink beer. But you're not touching my In-N-Out. My food goes above everything else, even the Dodgers. And I'm not giving up my music genre because it's the only one I listen to. So, yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
That one.
So for me, I said I could easily give up beer and In-N-Out. I don't drink beer to begin with, so that's pretty simple. And while I do think In-N-Out is good, I don't eat it that often, so that's easy for me to give up as well. But I'm not getting rid of my music genre. I can't do that.
That one, I don't think anyone's given that one up.
Okay, so the next question we had was from Twitter from Tony Alvarez, and it said, do you see Kershaw retiring a Dodger, or can you see him playing elsewhere at the end of his contract? Now, this one was kind of tough for me because I think it would depend on when Kershaw wanted to retire. Now, like Kershaw's 32 now, I believe. So if he wanted to retire in like 3 years, then yeah, I can see the Dodgers he retire as a Dodger. Anything more than that, I think it's a strong possibility he finishes elsewhere. Like this front office is all about players' performance, and they have no issues of letting people go. Kershaw is definitely different, so I understand that, but I can see them like let him go at a certain point if his production isn't what it used to be or what it needs to be.
That's fair. And you were right. He is 32. He will become a free agent after the 2021 season unless he does another extension. But he would be a free agent for his 34-year-old season. I was kind of in the same boat. Mine didn't fall so much on kind of how productive he is, although I think that does matter. Mine was more so about him, what he decides he wants to do. Not when he decides to retire, but family-wise, championship-wise. I go both ways on it. If he wins a championship in LA, I'm at about 50-50 that he stays or that he leaves. I only say that because if he wins a championship, he's done it all. He's won an MVP. He's got a Cy Young. He's got multiple Cy Youngs. He's an all-star. I mean, he's one of the greatest pitchers to ever be on the mound. And now you've got a World Series. To me, not even to me, we all know Kershaw puts his family first. Baseball's not important when it comes to him and his family. And I wonder with his kids getting to the age they are and the age they will be in 2 years, how badly he wants to raise his kids in Texas and where they live, and if he wants to start his life that way. So I really think a lot of that has to do with that.
So you can see him going to the Rangers.
Yeah, there's no way he goes to Houston, but I could see him going to the Rangers, and it would have nothing to do with the Dodgers. It would have nothing. It would just purely be this is what's best for me and my family move.
Yeah, just to go home. Yeah.
Yeah, but I can also absolutely see him saying no. I would never put another uniform on, or he could totally retire. He has 3 kids now, so you just never know. But it really goes either way for me. That one was a tough one because I feel like there's so many factors for Kershaw. Like no other player makes me think as hard as Kershaw you could say Kenley Jansen. I'd be like, I probably not. Who knows? But like Kershaw, that's a hard one. But we did actually have. Well, yeah, we can't say. Well, actually, Kershaw does go into our next question. We had another question from Lins_365 on Twitter. They asked, what Dodger players do you think will be the next one to be inducted to the Hall of Fame? And of course, right away, my answer went to Kershaw. I'm assuming that's where you're going to.
Yes, the easy answer is Clayton Kershaw because, I mean, if we're being honest, if he retired today, he's still very
Oh,
easily a
yeah.
Hall of Famer. But after that, Kenley Jansen kind of has a shot. He's been very productive when he's pitched, minus like the last season. But so, yeah, Kenley Jansen has a good shot. And I think Walker Bueller, if he continues to stay healthy and continue doing what he's done, then he has a good shot as well.
Cool. Well, in that case, you just answered our next question from M. Marco 21. I mean, if you have more answers, that's totally fine. You can put them in. But
Okay.
from Twitter, they wanted to know, assuming Bellinger still continues to be a hitting machine, which Dodger player from the farm do you think could be a future Hall of Famer? So this is pretty much a player drafted or developed by the Dodgers. It's not a Justin Turner. It's not anything like that. Obviously, if Bellinger keeps up doing what he's doing, there's always a chance for him to end up in the Hall of Fame. He's incredibly talented. He's young. He's just hitting his prime. So that I could definitely see Bellinger, but to go past Bellinger, the next one that popped into my head was Bueller. And I know looking at his numbers, you don't really think like, oh yeah, this kid's going to be a future Hall of Famer. But there's just something about his tenacity on the mound. He's so smart. He's always learning. He's always improving his game. And his other numbers that you look at are just, you can't just look at ERA. I'm not going to pull up specific ones for you because I'm not the greatest person at explaining more advanced stats. But I don't know. There's just something really good that I feel about Bueller. And if he stays healthy, I could see him making his way in there. So we'll have to see. But the Dodgers know how to turn those guys out. My only question is how many numbers will they be retiring until they run out? That'll be funny to me. Because they only retire Hall of Famers, and you're easily retiring 22, and you got to see where they've already got number 20 retired. So it would be pretty funny if they had 20, 21, and 22 one day. But we'll see what happens there. The next questions were a little interesting.
I thought they were really fun.
They were interesting. I talked to Amanda on Twitter quite a bit, and I like that she went a totally opposite direction of everyone else.
Absolutely.
But I'm going to let you answer hers first, and then I'll go.
Okay, so Amanda's first question is, you are competing on a Food Network show. You can have one Dodger player as your partner. Who would it be? What would you make and why? Okay, so he's not a player, but the obvious answer is probably like Joe Davis. I'm not 100% sure as far as player goes, but I'll say Joe Kelly. I mean, didn't he hurt his back during the season because he had like he cooked crawfish for teammates?
I think he was making...
he was making Cajun food.
Yeah.
And he hurt his back from standing up. And so I think that's complete dedication to his craft. And we would definitely cook Cajun food because he obviously has experience in that. And apparently his teammates really liked his food. So I think we could do well on that one.
All right. I that was a total sleeper pick. I totally forgot about that. Mine, I went with Jansen only because I've seen how he cooks on Instagram, and he's from Curacao. You see all the different types of food that he makes that we don't really get over here, and it just always looks so good. I have no idea what we would make. It would have to be something traditional to Kenley. I'm not even going to attempt to guess what it would be. I'm just telling you, I've seen plenty of videos on his wife, Gianni, on her Instagram, and that dude can cook. So I think that would be my go-to guy.
Okay.
But the next one, another competition one was, you are competing on The Amazing Race. A Dodger player, past or present, is your partner. Who would it be, and what would your team name be? I'm going to be honest. I've never watched The Amazing Race. Don't know anything about it. I know I basically know it's a game show. If anything, I don't even know if this is correct. It just reminds me like of The Challenge. That's what I think of.
Okay.
So for that one, I couldn't come up with a team name to save my life. And this isn't me making up an excuse. As a kid, my nicknames this is how bland and boring. Like my nickname was Spaz, Flash, and that was it. Like, because I was fast. And, yeah, because I had a lot of energy. I was a spaz. That was my nickname for a long time. So, like, me trying to come up with a name, like, I couldn't do it. I'll leave that up to Turner. But, yeah, I couldn't do that one. But I liked Justin Turner. Again, dude is a very smart guy. He's willing to put in the work to do whatever it takes to win, and I really think he'd just be super motivational. Like, I think he would kick my ass and be like, no, you're gonna do this, and he would give me some great speech. And when you see what happened with his career, like, you can't really look at him and be like, no, I'm not doing this. Like, you got to be like, all right, I can do this, I can push through. So I went with him.
Okay, so for the person I went with, this was a very easy answer for me, and it was Chase Utley. Immediately when I saw the question, I thought of Chase Utley.
Oh, that was a good
Chase
one.
Utley seems like the person who's like, he's naturally good at everything. Like, I feel like he can do everything pretty well. He's a leader, so I think he would help motivate me and lead us to victory. Plus, a few years ago at spring training, there was a question posed to Dodger players about who's the smartest person on the team or the smartest person you play with, and Chase Utley won handily. So, yeah, definitely Chase Utley. And as far as team name goes, it's going to have to be Team No Dairy because he doesn't eat dairy anymore, and I'm lactose intolerant. So it just made perfect sense for me.
Hey, it's a great answer.
Yeah.
This totally just came up to my mind. I didn't know that was going to be your answer, so I had no intentions of saying this. But I actually have a friend. Her name's Amanda Smith. Some of you might know her on Twitter. And the reason why I found your answer so funny is because she did an entire book about Chase Utley being at war and him fighting through the times of being at war and having to go through all that stuff and how he's like a hard ass and can get through anything and can deal with anything. So that was funny that you chose him, and that's probably one of the best answers you could pick. But yeah, you should check her book out. It's The Silver Fox at War. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce the other one, but you can check her out on Twitter. It's Amanda R. Tubbs. I have the book. It's pretty funny. It's a good time. But sorry, I'm not trying. That came to my head. So go on.
No
I
problem.
apologize.
Okay. So for the next question, again from Amanda, it was, what would your player's weekend name be, and what Dodgers player has the best nickname? Okay. So my player's weekend name would probably be Mama Lee. It's what I call my grandma, and it's in her memory. So yeah, definitely Mama Lee. As far as what player has the best nickname, it would have to be Dick Mountain. I don't think it's close, to be honest. Miss you, Rich Hill. But yeah, Dick Mountain.
That's a good one. Again, Amanda, I apologize. I really suck at this whole name thing. It would probably be something stupid like Ranz, R-A-N-Z, because don't ask me why. It was just some dumbass nickname I got in high school from my friends when I was... No, actually in 8th grade when I was like 13 or 14, and still to this day I get it in text messages. So that would probably be it. And it's really not even that exciting. I suck at those things. But my favorite one was either California, because I just love the play on a California. Yeah. I am very, very proud to be from California, and especially Southern California, so it's a very weird thing for me. I like that, and I like the Fresh Prince by Will Smith. So
always good.
Yeah, that's a good one for me too. But those were mine. And then this was her last question. The last question was, what is the main thing you are missing about the Dodgers and baseball during this time? My answer is extremely easy, and it's my friends. I love the stadium. I love being there. It gives me a place where I can escape the rest of the world. But the friendships I have made at the stadium and the amazing people that I've met at the stadium, I'm really missing those friendships right now. It's rough because those are the people I'm the closest to. And a lot of times I can't even see them until baseball season because I could see them. They live in LA and it's hard. It's just harder. But yeah, it's easily got to be my friends.
Okay. So the main thing I'm missing about baseball during this time, it's really just baseball. I miss watching baseball. It's my favorite sport. It's what I love to watch and talk about. But other than that, I would say I miss watching Buehler pitch and Bellinger hit. And also I miss seeing how like the young guys would fare, like Will Smith, Gavin Lux, Tony Gonsolin, Dustin May. So that would be it. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, It's I do miss the sport itself. I know you also don't necessarily live too close to the stadium, so just being able to watch
Not
baseball.
Anymore. Yeah. No.
But I want to go ahead and take that next question because it was something I actually spoke about on Twitter, tweeted about, and it was a question I was going to ask the fans, but somebody else asked it instead. This is the Stephen Warner on Twitter. He's actually one of our partners in Dodger Yard, but he asked this question. It's a 3-part question. So first thing was, when do you think the season will start? I think if there's baseball, it's happening mid-June or early July. Biggest thing, though, is I 100% believe it's contingent on how the reopening of some states play out. There's a lot of states opening up in the next week or two, and we could see things stay totally normal, or we could see a huge spike in the virus. And if that happens, I just find it hard to believe that MLB is going to push for games if things get worse. So that's when I think it might start. The next question was, how do you feel about fans not being in the stands? I think it sucks. I think the players use it. It's a huge part of the game. Players feed off of it. You hear it on TV. Some of my favorite moments at games is going back and watching videos I've taken and listening at that moment, like the crowd explodes. It's different. But at the same time, I'll take it over no baseball, and I will take it over. I'll take it over baseball, and my main priority is the players have to be safe. If they're not safe, then there's no point in doing this at all. So having fans away from them is the best possible thing, because they're already risking it going out there and playing. Last thing they need is having to worry about fans, especially when their own family members are in the oh man, wow. When family members are in the stands. That's where I was going.
Okay.
So yeah, last part of his question. This was the part I was in on Twitter, and I kind of want to know everyone else's response to this. So add us on Twitter, Dodger Yard, Instagram, anything, and let me know what you think. But he wanted to know, if we win the World Series this year, if we have one, do you think we would have an asterisk by our name due to the pandemic? No, absolutely not. And I will not even question it for 1 second if there's an asterisk by our name. For me, I can't put an asterisk by the name if the rules are the exact same for everybody else. If every team has the same rules, playing by the same whatever, why should it not count? Sure, maybe it's not 162 games. It might not wear their bodies out, but think about the mental and emotional, everything they're going to go through mentally and emotionally. It's going to be exhausting going through this kind of stuff, especially if they can't be around family members. To me, it's still baseball. And you know what? If those, I'm trying to not get too mad at this part.
Yeah.
But if those assholes in Houston get to walk around without an asterisk mark, no one is about to tell me that there's an asterisk mark coming on our trophy just because there was only 180 games in the season. It's just, I'm not going to have it. People can talk about it all they want. They can say the Dodgers never earned it. I don't care. I'm going to celebrate it. So that's how I feel. I don't know about you, but that's how I feel.
Okay, so I think when the season will start, I'm going to say July. I think maybe spring training is like mid-June, end of June, and then the actual season will start sometime in July. As far as fans in the stands, I think that's the right call. I don't think there should be fans in the stands. It's not worth the risk at all, to be honest. And the World Series question, no, I don't think there will be an asterisk, and it's much more legit than the Astros is, to be honest. So that's all I have to say.
I agree. So I've seen a lot of people on Twitter, which everyone is free to their own opinion, but I have seen some Dodger fans say that they would not consider it a legit title, and you know what, to each their own, but you will absolutely catch me.
I need to find them and ask them why.
I know. That's why, especially if you don't think it'll be legit, I really want to hear from you, because I'd like to hear your reasoning. Maybe we'll leave this question open one episode, or I'll just ask on Twitter and we'll kind of talk about it. But I'm really curious as to the people who say no, why, what the reasoning is.
Yeah.
I don't agree, but hey, if you don't want to celebrate it, you don't have to. But
I will.
You are absolutely going to see me in head to toe with 2020 World Series gear. I don't even care. I've waited my whole life. I don't know what it's like to win a World Series in 162 games. So this is going to be, for me, this works because I don't know anything else.
Okay, so the next question we got is from Malia underscore woohoo, and that was on Instagram. It's what is your favorite moment slash play from last season? Okay, so my favorite moment or memory is Bellinger's walk-off homer off of Lopez from the D-backs. Because if you remember earlier in the year when Lopez struck out Jock, he made like this big show out of it. He was pounding his chest. So when Bellinger hit that 440-foot bomb and pounded his chest at the D-backs dugout, I was going nuts. Absolutely nuts. That is definitely my favorite moment.
I agree. That was a total like alpha male move right there. It was great because I don't even know who Lopez is, and then you have the front runner MVP basically telling you to f off, don't disrespect my
Yeah.
teammates, and yeah, that was incredible. I love that. That's one of my favorite gifts is watching him do that, where he throws the bat and he's just staring at the pitcher and at the dugout. It's
Dugout, yeah.
amazing. I'm gonna admit I cheated. Malia, this
Okay.
was a good question, but I could not just give you one play or moment. There was too many things that happened. Honestly, the first one that popped into my mind was Ryu's home run, just because that was.
Oh,
I remember
yeah.
sitting there and someone had he hit a home run, and I'm gonna be 100% honest with you guys. It was a Sunday day game. If you follow me on Twitter, Instagram, you will see that I hate day games with a passion. I do not like being out in the sun. I do not like, and it was the last game of the season, so it was hot. I put my head down for 1 second, and all of a sudden I see everybody freaking out. I jump up, put my phone on record, and then all of a sudden I go down to the field, and I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden I realize, like, that was Ryu. And I just, like, I could not stop laughing. I was freaking out. I don't know. I love that one. Other one I
Yeah.
had was being at the extra inning game at Fenway Park that we won. The 8 home runs on opening day. And then a big one for me was the 5 straight walk-offs, which one of them does include Bellinger's home run, but it was Beatty against the Rockies, then Verdugo against the Rockies, then Smith against the Rockies, and that was the rookie weekend that they all did that. Then they went on the road and came back home, and Bellinger had the walk-off where they literally walked like 4 straight people to win the game, and then he had the home run. So those all popped into my head. There's just so many. Our team did a
Yeah.
lot of great stuff in 2019.
So the thing I remember most about Reed's home run is Joe Davis's call. It was perfect. It was amazing, and it really made that moment that much more special.
Oh yeah, they were great on that call.
Okay,
The
so the
Yeah.
oh
No, no,
sorry.
no, no, no. Go for it. I was gonna tell you to, but I forgot I was supposed to. So go for it.
Okay, so the next question we got from Twitter is from Awesome Dad 96, and he asks, "What would your dream team Dodgers past slash present look like?" Now we'll do a starting lineup, a 5-man rotation, and a closer. So for my answer, I'm only going to pick players I've seen because I think that's just how I have to do it. So if you don't hear Jackie, Koufax, or Fernando, I'm sorry.
That's fair.
So
There were no rules besides Dream Team, so
right.
that's fair.
So my catcher will be Mike Piazza. First baseman's Cody Bellinger. Second baseman, welcome back Chase Utley. Shortstop, one of my favorite Dodgers shortstops, Rafael Furcal. My favorite Dodgers third baseman, Adrian Beltre. Left field is going to be Manny Ramirez. Center fielder, Matt Kemp. Right fielder, one of my all-time favorite players, Gary Sheffield. As far as starting pitching goes, Clayton Kershaw, obviously. Zach Greinke, Hideo Nomo, Hyunjin Ryu, and Walker Buehler. And as far as closer, I love you, Kenley, but I went with Eric Gagne.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, we just did a quick lineup because I just a 42-man roster, pitching
It was a
rotation,
lot,
starting lineup,
yeah.
and bench. That would have taken so much research, and I think we would have spent almost an hour on the podcast just talking about that. I did mine a little bit differently. I put no limits. As long as they wore a Dodger uniform at some point in their life and played a game, like I did not count Mookie Betts in there. As long as they did not, or as long as they played a game in Dodger uniform, I picked them. And
Okay.
I went a little bit farther, and I even went with a manager, and I of course had to go with Tommy Lasorda, and I
Okay.
kept going and did a GM, which is Friedman. So, but to my
Okay.
to my actual lineup, it would not be in this order. But my catcher would be Piazza. Yeah. Oh man. Oh, okay. Sorry, I was totally. Okay. Mike Piazza. First base would be Gil Hodges. Second base, Jackie Robinson. My shortstop, I went with Corey Seager. I did my research on Pee Wee Reese, Wills, Russell, but stat-wise, I had to go with Seager. Obviously, Seager does not have a whole career body of work, so it's not like I can be like he had a better career than them, but I also do believe players now are just, it's a different game. It's faster. They're more athletic. And so I liked Seager's. I just picked him, and I did have Hanley Ramirez up there, but I ended up going with Seager overall.
That's a good one.
Third base, I went with Adrian Beltre because overall, he's just a great baseball player. He has a career WAR of 93.6, which is currently 27th all time. So I felt like I could not leave him off there. So he got that spot. And then my outfield, my left field was Zach Wheat, which I don't even know if most players will know that name.
Yeah, but I know that.
Okay, cool. I'm glad. I honestly did a lot of research for this. So, like, that's why I have a name of a guy that, like, I had never even heard of prior to this, to be honest. But so the reason why I picked him, because I'm sure there are people, like I said, who won't know anything about him. He's the current Dodgers franchise leader in career hits, doubles, triples, and total bases. He's a Hall of Famer, and he won a batting title in 1918 and a slugging title in 1916. So I had to go with him. And then, of course, center field, nobody other than Duke Snider.
Yeah.
And then right field, of course, I went with Cody Bellinger, because how could you not? And then I went for my starting rotation, I went Kershaw, Koufax, Drysdale, Pedro Martinez, and Don Sutton. They're all Hall of Fame pitchers. Yeah, they're all Hall of Fame pitchers, so I went with them. They all had, like, I think career 2.7, 2.8, something stupid as a career ERA. So I went with them. And then for my closer, I did go with Kenley Jansen. In my opinion, just a better body of work, and he has the Dodgers record for the most saves. So I did look at Gagne, but overall, I went with Jansen. But that was mine.
I chose Gagne for the simple fact of that long streak that he had, the closing streak that he had, and I just feel like his stuff to me was better than Jansen's.
Oh, he was a monster. I strictly just went off stats. That was kind of how I decided, because I wanted to, that was just how I looked at it. But I was a huge Gagne fan. He was a lot of fun to watch. Oh, there we go. Next one. I almost blinked there for a second. Look, it is really hot. I'm struggling tonight. I'm having problems saying players' names. It's 9:30. We're recording like 3 hours later than usual, so it's been a long day. It's
going to be a long night, yeah.
The next one was from Miriam EBC on Instagram. They asked, between Betts and Arenado, who would you choose to give a long-term contract, and why? I went to Betts right away. It was not even a question in my mind. He's 2 years younger. He's won an MVP, 3 Silver Sluggers, Gold Gloves, 4 Gold Gloves, and a batting title. Arenado has Silver Sluggers of his own, more Gold Gloves. Dude even has Platinum Gloves. However, he doesn't perform that great in the NL West. When you look at his splits, the reason why I think they are so different from Coors and away is because he doesn't do that well in the NL West. There were other stadiums where he was like a career 500 hitter at. It wasn't Coors, it wasn't Chase Field, but in the NL West, he never had any of the parks, any team. His batting average is nowhere above 260 or 270. He had a lower 800 OPS in every single one of those parks, which is on base percentage plus slugging. So he's at like 800 OPS, which is considered very good. But when you look at his overall body of work, I just don't think that's Nolan Arenado, or it's definitely not better than Mookie Betts. I'll tell you that. Yeah. And he's definitely had way more than enough plate appearances at each stadium. It's not a short sample size. His away line, I looked at it and actually compared it to Mookie's to see if I was actually going somewhere with it. And his was actually, so we had a 265 batting average, a 323 on base percentage, and it was 476 slugging with a 799 OPS. So that's his overall away line. Mookie Betts was 285 batting average, 361 on base percentage, 497 slugging. And I don't know why I left off his OPS there. That was my bad. But his batting average, 20 points higher. On base percentage, 30 points higher. Slugging, 20 points higher. So it just, for me, I don't want to say Nolan Arenado is a product of Coors Field because I do think he's a great player. But I do think Coors Field does help him a bit. So I had to go with Betts.
Okay. So I had a similar thought. My immediate answer was Mookie Betts. He's a consensus top 5 player. Personally, I think he's second behind Mike Trout. As great as Arenado is defensively, Betts is pretty damn good defensively as well. Now, I think Arenado has slightly more power than Betts, but Betts is definitely the overall better hitter, while also clearly being the better base runner. Like you mentioned, Betts is younger. So, yeah, to me, Mookie Betts is just the overall better player. This is definitely no slight to Arenado. I think he's great, but this was Mookie Betts by a landslide.
Yeah, same here. I love Arenado. I actually consider him my favorite player. That's not a Dodger, but Betts is as good as Arenado is, and on his next level, Betts is on even more. So, also, I did want to say, Miriam said greetings from Mexico. So, thank you for listening. It's very cool hearing.
Shout out to Mexico.
Yeah, it's awesome knowing that people in different countries are listening to us. I saw we had some in Australia, Philippines.
That's super dope to me.
Canada, Mexico. So that was really, really cool. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. So I'm going to let you go first on this next one. I want to hear what you have to say first before I go.
So this is from XMGC_2013. If you were made commissioner for one day, what's the first thing you would change or implement? This was a difficult question, but I went with no more DH, period. Pitchers have to hit in both leagues. As painful it is to watch the pitchers hit, it's just more of what baseball is. And there's definitely more strategy involved as to when to pinch hit or pull a pitcher. And if I didn't do that, then it's going to be removing the 3-batter minimum. I just think it takes a lot of strategy out of the game. It does make the games longer, but for me, it removes the strategy out of the game, and I don't like taking strategy out of baseball. So those would be mine.
So out of curiosity, why was it hard? What were you kind of battling back and forth
with? At first, I didn't know what to change. Honest, I'm going to be honest. I had no idea what to change. I was like, what did Manfred implement? Whatever he did implement, take that out immediately.
Okay, so
then eventually I settled on the DH thing.
I went a different direction. That was the first thing that came to my head. I hate the DH. Probably one of the things I hate the most in baseball. But I'm gonna tell you, there's one more thing that I hate a lot more, and it's cheaters walking around with a title that they did not rightfully earn. So I would have to do what Manfred did not have the balls to do, and I would actually punish the Astros. They would lose the title. I want all their World Series winnings donated to charity. I'd actually like to see them donate it to the Dodgers, not the Dodger Foundation, but the Dodger individual charities, since they're the ones who got screwed, not the charities, but the players themselves. I would want to see suspensions, whether you do it for an entire season and I want like the entire organization out of baseball for a year, or at least for one postseason, like basically like an NCAA ban. Some people might say it's over the top. I'm pissed off about it. I'm more pissed off that we don't have baseball right now and fans have not gotten the chance to express how angry they are and how failed of a job our commissioner did. And it's not even the fact that the Astros cheated the Dodger. It's the fact that it sets a terrible precedent for the sport. It's going to keep happening. So by not stripping the title, you're going to keep seeing people do this. What team, please tell me, what organization would not go, I will absolutely sacrifice my manager and GM to win a World Series? Not one of them would tell you they would give that up. There's no way. If all you're losing is 2-3 draft picks, a $5 million fine for organizations that are cost 200, 300 times more than that, it was just, I don't know. It was pathetic. It's bad for the sport, and I have a problem with them walking around with it and being smug, and their fan base treating the people the way they do and happily saying my team cheated. I don't care. We won. So I would just love to go in there and say nope and take it away.
Completely fair. And regarding your point where you said what team wouldn't do that, my only fear is if another team did do that, their punishment would be worse than the Astros punishment.
Oh, it would. I just don't know how much worse you could make it, because people, I
think he would strip it at that point.
But look at the Red Sox. They already got busted in 2017, and then they literally did nothing but blame their video guy. So I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I hate Manfred. I want him gone so bad. I don't know. I'm getting frustrated. So let's move on.
Okay.
I'll do this one because I found this one a little bit interesting, and I've heard on podcasts little different things, but nothing is, there's not a legit formal proposal. Oh, sorry. I guess we should say that we are done with today's fan questions.
So questions, yes.
I'm just jumping into a next segment. Sorry. Thank you to everyone that asked. We had a lot of fun. Hopefully we answered them well enough for you guys, because we put a lot of time into them, but we really enjoyed that. So thank you. Next, we are going to move on to the MLB news. And so, like I said, no formal proposal, anything like that. But it sounds like, and this is not from anyone legit, this is, everyone has sources, but it sounds like MLB's preferred plan would be for teams to play in their home stadiums, and then you would divide up the divisions. So it would be the same thing that we saw last week, where it was all the West, all the Central, and all the East. It would keep teams from only traveling in certain regions. They would not have to go nearly as far. They do fly privately, so they don't have to do the airport, and they're not around other people in that sense. The only thing I worry about is traveling and getting food, and players traveling to and from the stadium in all different cities, whereas Arizona would have just been basically 2 fields, but instead you're now spreading across the entire country. So that is the kind of issue I see with that there. But Stripling was on the Stripling was on the Athletics podcast. It's like the Scribes of Summer or something like that. And he was saying that he thinks that's the most likely plan, and that he thinks that that's going to be, if there's baseball, that's what it kind of sounds like he thinks it's going to happen. It's going to go that direction. And that basically the Arizona plan just didn't really even seem that reasonable from the start, just because it's so many, it's like over 1,000 people in one place.
Yeah.
So it sounded like he didn't really think that was ever going to happen. So he's happy with this plan. He has said from the beginning, he just wants to play. He doesn't care what the plan is, but he understands the hesitation of other players. But he did say, which was interesting to me, he did say on the podcast that he believes they could be getting a proposal from the league this week as to what the league is thinking officially. It may not be dates or anything. And again, he said he thinks, and this was just on a podcast, this wasn't anything with MLB, so we'll have to wait and see. But I would love to see a proposal, because I would like to actually know what MLB is saying and not just sources. But as Cody Bellinger said, Ross said the same thing. They're out of the loop. They don't know anything. So
right. So with this proposal, the furthest the Dodgers would have to travel would be to Texas, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Which is still far if you think about it, with everything going, like, that's halfway across the country. It's not like it's Arizona where they could drive if they needed to. It's not like it's San Diego where they do drive. Like, that's a good chunk. So yeah, and it's nobody's that close to Texas. The entire AL West is on the West Coast. So the Astros and the Rangers are traveling everywhere. So yeah. So what next ties in really well. The MLB Players Association executive director, Tony Clark, we hear about him all the time. He's talking, he pretty much speaks for the players. He gets everything they want, and he's the personal spokesperson. He spoke with Marly Rivera of ESPN, And he said, despite all that has been floated and all that rhetoric that is out there, we have not received anything formal that details an actual plan. So again, he's just confirming kind of what we already knew, but actually telling us that there is nothing formal. Don't read too much into everything you see, because the players don't have any of that information yet. So nothing really all that new on that aspect of things, but it is something.
So last night was the start of the Korean Baseball League, right?
Yeah.
And it was on ESPN. So with this, there's only 10 teams, and the top 5 moving to the playoffs with the number 1 seed heading straight to a 7-game championship. Ties are allowed. There is a universal DH and custom walk-up songs. Now, Ryu played for the Hanwha Eagles and is considered one of the most famous people in South Korea. Did you happen to watch the game last night?
So I did watch some of it.
Okay. What'd you think?
I liked it. I will say I was a little bit disappointed to listen to the English broadcast, which I know sounds weird. But I was absolutely trying to go to bed with some background noise, and I just didn't want to listen. I also just don't like many baseball announcers, so
Who was on the broadcast?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think it might have been Carl Ravitch and someone else.
Okay. You see, I don't have cable, so I wasn't able to watch it.
Well, you need to hit up that ESPN app.
Yeah.
But so yeah, what you mentioned, it was kind of the differences between MLB and KBO. So it is a little bit of a difference. The interesting thing, like you mentioned, where the 10 teams and top 5 move on to playoffs. Well, technically, top 5 moves on, and then you have the 1 seed and all that kind of stuff, like you mentioned. And even Ryu, like that's how serious baseball is to them, that they treat him like a celebrity. I was reading something, and they said in South Korea that he basically every start or regular season start, they treat it like a Super Bowl. Like everybody knows who he is. He's basically LeBron James, but over there, like their version. Like you don't have. And what I read was, you're not a sports fan, you know who he is. It doesn't matter. So I thought that was really cool. It also just shows the passion of their fans. And I decided to pick a team, and I went with the Hanwha Eagles because it was Ryu's team. But apparently they suck. Their comparison was the Royals, so that's cool. I don't mind. I'm gonna support Ryu's old team, so that's what I went with, and it'll be fun to watch.
Okay. So I chose the LG Twins because their comparison was the Dodgers. So this seemed only right. Yeah,
it's a little tough because the game started at 10 p.m. last night, and I think there was another one at like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. So it's a little tough, but we got weekends, and some of us don't have to be up early with everything going on. So it was what I enjoyed the most about it was the community on Twitter, was seeing everybody talk about baseball again.
Yeah.
And it was kind of cool because everybody picked teams, and we're all used to only following people that like our teams. And so it was cool because everybody is all over the place, and it's not like people are going to be fighting over it. So it was fun. I mean, I would like to watch more of it. I'm not someone who stays up very late, so we'll see, but I was just so happy to have baseball back on the TV last night. I will say
Did you see Mookie Betts' intro for it?
Yes, I did. That was cool.
Okay, yeah.
I'm glad that they partnered up with him and did that. There definitely needs to be more awareness around the sport, and there definitely needs to be more international, worldwide. So I thought that was cool. I really liked it. I want baseball back so bad.
Yeah,
so
same.
I'm happy with this. I liked it. I thought it was fun. It did not seem weird. I will say it did not seem weird without fans. I actually did not even think about it once. Like it never even came to my mind that, oh, this sounds different. But something cool they do over there, which I think I heard correctly. Again, I was trying to go to sleep, but they pump crowd noise into the speakers.
Okay.
To help kind of at least give it that environment, and it's not total echo off the seats and all that stuff. So I thought that was really cool. I found it extremely interesting that almost no players wore masks, and they were all next to each other.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is weird because I know, I don't remember what league it was.
They must be doing a good job handling the virus.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of countries have handled this better than we have, but yeah, we won't get into that side of things.
No.
Yeah, I found that interesting. The umpires had them on. Umpires had gloves on, but I couldn't see if the catcher had one on. But for sure, if anyone on the field had one for one team, I had only seen one. I think it might have been third base, or that might have been the third base coach that had it on. But yeah, and they were all in the dugout. A bunch. Some of them had masks on in the dugout. But I was really shocked to see that basically no one had masks on. So hopefully they're just taking precautions. Everybody's being tested because we need this to go away.
Yeah.
So
Now, did you see robotic fans in the stands, or was that Japan, not Korea?
I think that was Japan, wasn't it?
Okay. Okay.
I know
I'm not
I know
100%
one of the
sure.
leagues was testing it. I just don't remember what league was testing it.
Okay.
But I remember
'Cause,
seeing that one of the
yeah, I remember seeing it and I was like, that's a little weird, but
Yeah, I remember seeing one of the leagues was trying that out, but I don't remember. I know there's a couple different leagues going right now. I just don't know all of them. But yeah, no, it was fun. We'll see. We'll see what happens from there. They did announce on Wednesday, nothing all that serious, at least not for Dodger fans, that the 2020 Hall of Fame ceremony will be postponed next year. They're going to induct the 2020 class with the 2020 class next year, July. So that's a bummer for baseball that they did that, because it's again, it's huge. It's part of the sport. Those
yeah,
guys have waited literally their entire career to get something
for this
like that.
moment, yeah.
Yeah, and it's a bummer, especially for guys that this was the year Jeter got in, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's like guys like him who
Boo.
was he unanimous?
No, I think he was one vote off
Okay. Oh, that's right. He was. Okay.
because everybody was mad about it, and I was just
Yeah,
like,
and that one, yeah, the one dude got blasted
yeah.
on Twitter. That's right. Yeah, no, I thought that was uh that's it's shitty. That's really, I was trying to
Yeah.
find words, but I can't. I don't care about any of the guys that are getting inducted, but it is a bummer. You wait your entire
For
life
them, yeah,
to
yeah.
get that call. You're especially when you're a first ballot guy, and you don't get to have that. So hopefully everything is good to go next season and they can have that then.
So to so there were some rumors going around Twitter about the minor league season being canceled, and Passan has said there are no plans to have the season canceled as of yet. But honestly, I feel like it's kind of trending that way. I mean, any information we get about a potential season, minor league baseball is never mentioned. It's really unfortunate for a lot of these players because they just really seem like they're an afterthought in all of this.
Yeah. I agree with you. I don't see minor league baseball coming. They don't even care about them when MLB is raking in billions, let alone when they're not raking in anything.
Right.
So it sucks. I think it's awful for the sport. I think it's the wrong move. I love going to minor league games. It's good for the communities. It's great to get games out there when you could pay $10, whatever it is. So I feel really bad for those players, again, who have waited their entire life to get drafted by a team, and now some of them are not going to have a job because of all of this. So it sucks. It's bad.
Yeah.
But that's a little negative. So I want to jump into just a couple positive things. I'm going to just kind of run these off fairly quickly
Okay.
because we're getting up there in time. So
All right.
with everything going on, I just kind of like to find the positives that are going on within baseball, the team, raising money, stuff like that. So within the last week, we've seen a lot coming from our guys on the team, and even some of them not on the team. But Kershaw's Challenge, they raised $85,000 for Behind Every Door, which is a foundation in Dallas, their hometown, and then the Dream Center in LA. So that's incredible. Very happy about that. Jaime Harin, he's doing big stuff right now. Last year, unfortunately, his wife passed away, so he started a foundation in her name, in her memory. It's Jaime and Blanca Harin Foundation, and I'm going to try my best to pronounce this, so please bear with me. They are partnering up with Los Defensores. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's a LA-based legal services company, but they're teaming up with them to donate $60,000 to the LA Regional Food Bank. So that's awesome. I love seeing everybody getting involved. It's not just players; it's our broadcasters. It's everybody. It's the Dodgers Foundation has done a ton of stuff. They've donated thousands of water bottles, books, produce to LAUSD students. They've gone and helped out military families with produce. They've helped out homeless shelters, all kinds of stuff. So they're out there doing their thing. Justin and Courtney Turner just never stop. They've been doing the whole Dream Center, which they have now donated. Well, not them, but the LA, they've been a huge, huge part of this. But the LA Dream Center has donated 500,000 meals in their 50 days into donation. Like the recordings from Monday night. So they were 50 days crazy. In and they did 500,000 meals. That's insane. What is that? 10,000 a day? Yeah, that's crazy. So Justin and Courtney Turner, on top of that, are now helping raise money for children battling brain tumors. You can go to team.curethekids.org to learn more about where the donations are going. That's a great cause. And then the last one was one that you had actually found, but it was Giancarlo Stanton is donating 15,000 face shields to hospitals in SoCal and, of course, New York. But it was just cool to see him coming back and supporting his hometown and sending stuff over our way. And New York's getting hit badly. So just wanted to throw that one out there, too, since he was coming to Southern California with those donations. But I'm going to be 100% honest. We can't be recording these at 10 p.m. anymore because I can't speak. I'm a mess on this thing, and I'm just screwing up every word out there. So, with that said, I think we're going to end tonight.
Right. All right. And just as a reminder, please go subscribe to the podcast. Give us 5 stars if you think we deserve it so we can, boost the ratings up and pop up in more things. And thank you, everybody. And don't forget to follow us on our social medias at Michael Konu, MyKalKonu.
Yep. And like he said, thank you for everything. Keep leaving those reviews because we honestly read them and we do everything we can to try to adapt the best we can to what you guys want to hear, what you are seeing, what we should work on, because at the end of the day, we aren't here to really just hear ourselves talk. We want to provide good content to fans. So we appreciate you guys, and we will be back next week. Yeah, that's all I have. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and we will catch you guys next week. Bye, guys.
See you next week, guys.